Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very exciting video to get into, and it's not one of those videos that has like 100 topics. We actually just have a few here, but they are all very exciting. So news, rumors, updates, leaks, all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get right into this video. So I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, I think August is going to be that month where, you know, we have a couple Nintendo Online releases, but this is almost a breathing month. Well, Nintendo will kind of promote some stuff, and then we will go into September, which will not only kick off Zelda's 40th anniversary and all the promotion for that, but I also think we should have a massive Nintendo Direct, like first party as well. Maybe multiple Directs even. So while this month almost seems like a little slow, there's still a lot happening, and this is actually the build up to pretty much the rest of the year. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. I would love to hit like 40 billion subscribers by the end of the year. You know, I don't think that's asking for too much. And also, if you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter, well, hey, that would be pretty cool. And also, I'll be doing a giveaway in this video, actually 2 of them. So stay tuned. So first, let's talk about Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave, which, you know, got its own Nintendo Direct. And it feels weird. It's almost like, well, a month away from a release, which is normally what they would do, but it just feels strange, you know. I would think maybe towards the end of this month or something, but I think they did this for a few reasons. To be honest, the reasons don't really matter. What matters is the contents of this game. It looks fantastic, and I have to say I was on edge a little bit because I think I'm gonna pick this up. You know, it seems like right up my wheelhouse. I actually never played Fire Emblem Three Houses, and it's something I hope still gets a Switch 2 update at some point, but I could probably honestly just pick it up the way it is and play through it. But I think I'm going to jump into this. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of fun. It looks amazing. And the reason why I was on edge, because I was asking myself, does this seem like an $80 game? And from everything they've showed off so far, which is now quite a bit, I still can't say for sure, but what I can say is it looks like a quality title. There's also a collector's edition, which I believe is $120, and I think that actually includes the game, which seems like, yeah, no duh, but these days, man, you'll be lucky to even get a digital code. Sometimes collector's editions are just like a figure, an empty case, and some other stuff you don't really need, so I'm sure that's actually going to sell immediately. Now, here's what's very interesting about this. Allegedly, Fire Emblem Fortunes Weave review codes are already out. That is over a month before launch. And for a couple of reasons, I think they're doing this. Number one, this isn't like a 15-20 hour game, right? This is a game that probably bare minimum you're going to be running 70-80 hours. And there's multiple paths. Maybe those are 70-80 hours. This is easily a 100+ hour game. So it's cool that Nintendo is giving, you know, the reviewers time to actually sit with this game. And it also makes me think, and don't get me wrong, I know this sounds crazy, that Nintendo kind of wants to get this out of the way a little bit, so they can really start focusing on Zelda. Like I said, I know that sounds crazy, but regardless, man, I think this is going to be a huge hit. I think it's going to get a lot of people into Fire Emblem, and I'm pretty excited for this one. Now quickly, I also want to mention Spiritfarer just got an official Nintendo Switch 2 edition rated, and this game is phenomenal. It is a powerful indie game, just an incredible game. This is actually one of those games I always recommend on eShop sales. So the question I have about this is, would this game just come out? I don't think it ever got a physical edition. So would this just show up on the eShop? Would they announce this in a Nintendo Direct? Would this be a shadow drop? And would this get an upgrade path? With an indie, I kind of feel like they would do something like that. You know, it would just make sense. I know there's also DLC. I know this isn't a massive announcement or anything, but this game is incredible, and this makes me very excited. And now let's talk about Big Walk, which is currently one of the highest rated games of the year. As far as I know, it launched on all platforms. I actually talked about this in a video where I was talking about games coming up from August you need to pay attention to. Sure, this is quote unquote a friend slop game, but this is also made by the same people who made Untitled Goose Game, so it has a little bit more depth to it. And I can say from experience, because I had review codes, that it is incredible. So what I would like to do now is I have 2 extra codes for this game, and I will be giving them away to 2 people in the comments who follow my Instagram, Twitter, whatever. just two different people. I'm pretty sure I only have Nintendo Switch 2 codes, and I don't think it actually released on the Switch if I'm not mistaken. So just keep in mind you need to have a Switch 2. But I will be giving away 2 copies of this game to my audience like I do all the time. And I think as long as you have 1 copy, maybe you can do game share and play with people, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, I have 2 codes to give away, so I'll be doing that. Now let's get into some huge updates. Only 2 of them, but both of these are massive in my opinion. And we were talking a few days ago about Monster Hunter Wilds because it got rated in Germany, I think, something like that. And that is pretty exciting because we know Capcom said it is in development, which is, crazy because the game was a little janky on other platforms. But if anybody can make this work, we know it is Capcom. And apparently we have a small insight into how that game actually might perform on the Switch 2 through data mining. So allegedly, Monster Hunter Wilds on the Switch 2 could possibly run at 1080p to 1440p in docked mode, 720p to 864p in handheld mode at 30 to 40 frames per second. This seems like this is coming along great, and this is actually crazy to me because this means a few things. Number one, if there is a 40 frames per second mode in Monster Hunter Wilds, which I think a ton of games should implement this if it's possible. I know it depends on what engine you use or whatever, but I really think more and more games should use 40 frames per second if possible. But what this means is if they have Monster Hunter Wilds running at 40 frames per second in a 40 frames per second mode, that means it has to be running fantastically at 30 frames per second. Now I know there's people who are sticklers for 60 frames per second, 30 frames per second. Me personally, I am very happy that I'm not one of those people, but I get it. But you have to remember, man, this game, I'm telling you, it was insane at launch. Like even on PS5, I was pretty sure it was having some issues. And this is one of those titles that was labeled a port that would never, ever come to the Switch 2. Like, hey, do you think that would happen? No, it's not going to happen. That's funny. Let's move on. And the fact that it is coming to the Switch 2, it just means so much. Not only are they optimizing this and getting this to run correctly and great or good enough, it's Capcom, but this also it's another check off of a list of a game you thought was impossible that we're now getting. And that just bodes well for the future of the Nintendo Switch 2, because honestly, as much as I love the Switch 2, I think it's fantastic. I also have a PlayStation 5, so it's not like I really have to worry about not experiencing a game, unfortunately, if it doesn't show up to the Switch 2. But there was a lot of conversation, like, when the Switch 2 comes out, it's going to be fun. We're going to get a lot of the generation of PlayStation 4 games on it, and we're going to enjoy it. But after a year or two, it's really going to show its age, and it's going to be, unfortunately, a last generation console, and everybody will move on again, just like they did with the Switch. But more and more with the Switch 2, we're just seeing it's not happening, man. And not only are we getting all those quote-unquote PlayStation 4 generation of games that we can now play handheld, but we're actually in that next generation or current generation with the PS5 and Xbox, and we're getting these ports, and more games that seemed impossible, we're just straight up getting them, and it is so damn cool and so promising for the future. And this is me saying this as somebody who will probably not play Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, I would like to get into the series. I think Monster Hunter Rise was awesome, but Monster Hunter Wilds isn't on the top of my list to play. But the fact that we will be able to play it on the Switch 2, it's just so damn impressive. And I find myself saying this more and more all the time as more and more games will inevitably show up on the Switch 2. And the last thing I want to talk about today is more Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake news, updates, leaks, whatever. And it's so crazy because, we're in August already. This year has flown by. September, October, November. It seems like within 90 days or something, or about there, we will be playing this game. And not only will we be playing this game, there will also be a Zelda Pro Controller, and there will be a Zelda themed Switch 2, which would be the first one. There's just so much, going into this or with this. And then obviously, when this game gets its real first look and Zelda's anniversary kicks off, it'll probably be at the beginning of a new Nintendo Direct. So it just means so much, right? Like, it's not just a game, it's really a whole movement that comes with that game. Now, a few days ago, we seen that the game was rated by the ESRB here in America, and we also seen the potential release date leak via way of an amiibo. Is that going to happen? I'm not sure, and I also have been saying early November makes a lot of sense, but we will see. Now, what's really cool is about a time a game will get a rating, it really is like 60 days later that we're playing that game. At least it seems like that way, right? So not only did this game get rated by the ESRB, now it is showing up through other ratings boards, and that's very exciting. So shout out to Necro Felipe for finding this. But he says, with a bit of delay compared to other territories, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Xenoblade Chronicles are listed by Nintendo in Japan. And I think they also showed up somewhere else today, or at least Zelda did. It was like Japan and Europe as well, if I'm not mistaken. So straight across the board, you know, Xenoblade is cool, but that's definitely coming in 2027. Nintendo already said that. But Zelda, we know, is coming this year, and to see it show up across the ratings boards just all over, very, very exciting stuff. Bare minimum, the game launches in like 90 days or around there. I think they're really going to go all out with this, because also this will tie into the Zelda movie, which is a little bit more of a risk than the Mario movie, right? Like, don't get me wrong, The Legend of Zelda is a known IP, but it's not like Mario. If you go to your 80 or 90-year-old grandparents and say, is this Mario? They'd say, yeah, that's Mario. If you go and show them a picture of Link and say, this is a person from The Legend of Zelda, they're going to say, well, that's Zelda, you know? They just think Link is Zelda. So this is a little bit more of a risk, and I think Nintendo is going to use the game and the console and I'm sure a bunch of other stuff to help cross-promote this movie. This is all moving us into September, where we will get that big Nintendo Direct. I'm talking about, you know, the last Nintendo Direct, first party one, I think it was fun. It was great. It wasn't the top of my list, but I thought it was good. But I think this next one is going to be that one we're all looking for, with a lot more first party news. Probably even seeing the first look at the next 3D Mario or some kind of Mario, right? It won't just be The Legend of Zelda. Zelda will start that Direct, and then we'll get a bunch of other stuff filling up the rest of the year, third party ports, indies, a couple other first party stuff we don't know about, and they'll probably end with Super Mario, because you got to remember, this year is also still Mario's anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, right? Am I tripping? I don't think I am. So yeah, I just think there's a lot with this moving us into September. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. So in the comments below, let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you going to pick up Fire Emblem? Are you excited for Monster Hunter? Zelda? Are you excited for that? Just start a conversation down below. And if you made it to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe on the way out. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter on the way out, and consider becoming a channel member. And we will be streaming either today or tomorrow. So come and hang out for stream. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace.